All right, hello everyone. My name is Yelena, and I'm gonna be your Cognos Analytics administrator. And at the same time, I'm also one of the faculties at UMGC. Okay, so the purpose of this session is to help you get started with using Cognos Analytics, including logging into your account, and you're gonna be getting used to, you're gonna learn a little bit about the Cognos Analytics environment. You're gonna learn about the differences between data set, data module, some data preparation, data exploration, and etc. So here's the agenda, but before we start, I need to tell you, very important. This session is huge, a lot of materials, but trust me, you will need to watch this presentation more than once. Okay, so that's the whole purpose. You will need to watch this recording or portions of this recording more than once. So what might help you here, you see the clock, right? If anything is unclear, you could also note the time on this clock because it will be in a recording, right? And also there will be time for questions. All right, so you heard the term Cognos Analytics many times, but what is this? Well, this is a self-service. It has an intuitive web-based interface where you can just upload the data, right? Or the data is uploaded for you, and you can basically extract useful insights from the data in natural language that you read and understand. You're not writing any Java, you're not writing any Python or R code, right? It just gives you the information to you. You just drag and drop and you get what you need, right? And the system is going to recommend the visualization based on the data fields you select and based on what you're currently looking at, right? And you might build some interactive dashboards and stories, which is coming later in the course. And you might show, you might do show data that is being visualized. Well, reporting is not covered in the course, but it may help to know that you can do that. Okay, so now, very important, please try not to use the browser back button to avoid losing your work. Remember that this is not your PC, you're gonna be using remote PC, right? There is no recycle bin, so if you delete anything in Cognos, that's it, it's gone. You cannot restore it. And the problem is that the files have a dependency. So if you have the data and then you have the visualizations that you build from the data, if you delete the data, the visualization will become permanently damaged and there is no way to fix it. So please, please, please. Now, another thing is that you cannot copy paste stuff directly from your PC into the VDA except for the text. And there is a Clipboard Tool for that, and I'll show you. Please always save your work and do everyone a favor. Start working on assignment as early as you can. All right. So now I'm gonna show you how to get to this thing. You're gonna take this vdi.umgc.edu and you're gonna type this in a browser. You'll be redirected to university single sign-on page, right? And you will need to enter your, I believe now it's your student email, right? And password. Well, what you'll do is you follow the same way that you log into Leo, right? So you have you use your email, and the first part of your email is your what? Username, right? Your university username. So well, this is what you're gonna see, something along this line. Okay. Now, so, and also if with another tab, if you signed into your student email or to Leo, when they put that URL, you probably will not be prompted for the password. Okay. Now, going back. So here, you're gonna see the link to Cognos application. This is a shortcut, and you're going to click on a shortcut. Now, this slide is important. Your username for Cognos is going to be the same as your university username. So if you are a student, that's a part that is right before at student umgc.edu, right? It's that part. So this is your username for Cognos. Everybody's password is this. Look, This is the word welcome, right? But W is in the uppercase, number 3, because see, the password must contain at least one number, at least one numeric digit. So what I had to do was I put 3 because if you look at the keyboard, number 3 is right above letter E, and then I put an exclamation point. So this is going to be your Cognos credentials, and I set up accounts like a week and a half ago. So right now, for myself, for the purpose of this demo, I'm not using my admin account. What I have is that I have a demo account, special account for this session. So see this, it starts in Google Chrome on remote PC, and it's going to open the application in a Google Chrome on remote PC. This is not my computer, right? And all right. Sometimes it may take a little bit of time to start. I know it's a little bit, okay, so here it is. This is a login screen. For you, it's going to be a university username. For me, it's just a demo. And then you're going to put the password, right? Everybody has the same password, but don't worry. Well, it's done this way for a reason. So in case I have to troubleshoot your account, right? I know how to access it. Okay, so here we go. What is this? This is a Cognos Analytics. You may call it homepage, or you may also call it a landing page. All right, so this section, this is called Canvas, right? And what you see in the middle depends on the screen that you're currently looking at. So here, if you click on an arrow, you will usually see the list of files that you have currently open. And files could be dashboards, could be data modules, right? And we'll talk about that today. And data explorations, right? We're not gonna cover dashboards and stories today. We're gonna have another session in 4 weeks from today. So here, this is how the files are organized. You have my content. My content, those are your work. Everything that only you can see. Nobody else can see that. You have a team content. Team content is what is being shared with you. In this case, you have some pre-installed stuff like get started, samples, templates, calendar. These folders were pre-installed at the time when Cognos was set up. But this folder, data for data 610 assignments, I set it up. And what's in there? Let's take a look at that. Here, I created a separate folder for each assignment. See this assignment getting started. This is what is due next week. Here is assignment 2. Here, I called it assignment 3 and 4 because you're going to use the same data set for 2 assignments. Assignment 5, and this is a walkthrough data. So, for example, if you want to follow along what I'm doing today, this is where the data is, and I'm using this one, the highlighted one, okay? This one, it's used for some of the exercises in the classroom, if you will. So, yeah. Oh, the team folder is empty? Okay, please do this. If the team folder is empty for you, please go ahead and submit Salesforce ticket. I will pick it up. This is a no-brainer. I know what needs to be done. Okay, I will need to add you to the data 610 group because I do my best to make sure that everything is set up correctly, but once in a while a student could be missed. So go ahead, submit the case, and this is no brainer, very easy fix for me. Few minutes fixed. Okay, now, well, this is the content because, well, the way it's done is that your account is set up by your account, but this folder is controlled, access is controlled via groups. So, and recent, it's gonna be everything that you have recently viewed. I did not open anything recently, right? And then what else? Search, you can search the content. Like right now, I only have one file in my content, but what I could do is I could do something like, let's say, weather, and it's gonna give me locations of the file. that contains the word weather, right? Then I can filter my search further. For example, I want to see just the data, or perhaps I want to do anything that was last modified today is unknown, but just an example, okay? You can do that, and you can also save your searches, okay? All right, and that's what it is, right? Clear all. Yeah. So that's a search, right? And to close this, you just click here. My content, you can also do the filtering. Well, because what's going to happen is that as you keep on working on assignments, you're going to have more stuff, right? So sometimes you might not remember what you saved, what you call the specific file, but if you remember you did it today, you can just do this, and it will show you everything that you modified today, right? Or if I do all, etc., right? So this is just how to use this, right? This page. Now, another thing that you see here is that new, right? But we're gonna go through it slowly, but those are different objects that you can create. Dashboards and story, we'll save it for next time, but exploration and data module we'll discuss today. Another thing is this, my content, sometimes you want to be more organized. You want to create a separate folder for the files, assignment 2 files perhaps. So what you do, you click on new and you can create folder here. For example, I want to do something like assignment 2, right? And I want to save all assignment 2 related files in that folder, okay? So you can do that part. Now, another thing, what you're gonna do, for your very first assignment, I'll show you where the file is in the team content. And again, if you don't have access to this, it's a no-brainer fix. Go ahead and please put the ticket, but make sure that the ticket type is VDA, okay? The last in the drop down. Okay, now what this one is assignment getting started, okay? And this is a insurance.csv. This is the data that you're gonna use for the first assignment. And uh, now what you'll do is this, you're gonna click here and you're gonna do copy or move, right? Copy or move. Now you need to select your folder, your content area, and you're gonna move it to your content area. Now again, not move, copy, because when you click move to, it's gonna give you an error. Because secretly when you move something, you are deleting it from original location and you don't have a delete permission, you have just read permission. Okay, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna make a copy, and this will make a copy of this file in my content, in your content area. Okay, so now let's go back to the slides for quickly. We discussed this. We discussed. Oh, now next thing is yeah, I need to show you the clipboard tool. Okay, well if you click at the top, that thing that pulls down. Here this will open up the clipboard. So to copy and paste text, you need to copy it from your PC into the clipboard first. Then from the clipboard, you copy whatever you need to copy into application here. So that's an extra step, right? Okay, but if you need to do what I did when I was creating your account, there was a lot of copy and paste, right? So what I had to do actually, I had to take the file with the information and I had to upload this file to the VDA, okay? I had to do that. So anyway, upload, download, you're not gonna be doing it. And another thing that you're not gonna be doing is you're not gonna be uploading data. If you ever believe that you need some data to be uploaded, contact me, okay? We'll take care of it. But all the data that you need to work with for the course is already here to my knowledge, okay? Now, let's go back to the slides. This is just, this is a landing page. And what I did was I spelled out different components of the landing page, right? So we talked about reasons, we talked about the new, and this is called the canvas, the middle section. And on the middle section, you're gonna see what you recently had opened. At the moment, I did not have anything open, right? but I'll show you when we get to it. All right. So now I showed you how to access the preloaded data, right? And just for your convenience, I created the subfolders with data sets for each assignment. So for assignment 2, you have the housing data. For assignment 3 and 4, you have choices. You may choose 1 out of 5 data sets, but take one and stick with one for assignment 3 and 4. Okay, make sense? Now, this is what we're going to be looking for tonight's demo. This is an insurance claims record. The file stores customer information such as a country, a customer identification number, state, and the claim number, a claim type, and different claim coverage, right, and etc. Person's demographics and the coverage type and the car type. And that information is used to estimate total claim amount, if you will, right? But take a quick look. Do you see something in here? Some cells here are empty. Those values are missing values. In your assignment, you also have assignment 2, you have some missing values. Not the ones that due next week, but big assignment 2, you have some columns with missing values. And you will ask to handle it. And we're going to talk about what you need to know. Okay? Now, first, we need to talk about what's the difference between data set and data module. For your assignment due next week, you're working with a data set. The file, original source was a CSV or Excel that was uploaded for you, right, from the desktop. You cannot customize the data that was uploaded directly. You cannot add anything like calculations. You cannot add any filters to that data directly, right? You cannot preview the data. And well, basically you cannot, there is no way to customize the data set. But what you'll do, starting from assignment 2, you're gonna create a data module. And data module can be customized, and you'll be adding filters, calculation, and etc., right? And those customizations are usable everywhere where you use this data module as a source. And everywhere, I mean all exploration, dashboards, and stories, right? And also data module can be used as a source for another data module, but don't worry about that part. But well, then you may preview the data directly, right? And you may combine multiple data sources. We're not doing it in this course, but I had to mention it, right? So, and both data module and data set could be used as a source for exploration, and they can be saved, they can be located in my content or team content. You cannot save anything to team content at the moment, all right? So, and then remember this, if you accidentally delete the data set, any data module that was created from the data set would be invalid, and any visualizations that were created from the data module would become invalid. There is no way to fix it. So please, please, please do everyone a favor. Be careful with deletes. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a data module. Have claims and weather data, right? And how do you know that it's a data set? Because if you look at this icon, well, my content, do you see this? If you look at this icon, it says XLS, right? It's not a data module right now. Okay, so well, this is how you close the filters. You click back on the funnel. Okay, here it is, claims and weather. Well, look at what I'm doing. There is more than one way to do this. I can click here and it opens the actions menu, and I'm going to click on create data module. Well, let's see what's gonna happen. This is a new data module. This is what it's gonna called by default. And if you see little asterisk, it means that the latest change has not been saved. So how do we fix it? We can save it. I'll click on save as, and I'm gonna do my content, and I should call it something like claims and weather data module, right? By default, for some reason, I had this selected, but you're gonna get an error. Actually, see the save button is grayed out because you will not have permission to write to the team content for right now. When we get to assignment 5, it's going to be separate folder. Well, we'll talk about it when we get to it. At the moment, you cannot write anywhere in the team content. Okay, so see this? This is my content, claims and weather data module, and I'm gonna go click save. Okay, done. See this? Now the asterisk is gone. It means I saved my latest change. If I wanted to go back to the landing page, I'm not clicking the browser back button. I use this to navigate, right? I use this to navigate between the data modules that I was working on and the landing page. Now, what else do I see in here? This is a list of columns, right? That they match the list of columns in a screenshot of the uploaded data, except for this. What is this guy here? It's a hidden column that's called row ID. Hidden column means that it's visible here, but it's not available for visualizations, right? When I click on a grid here, this is how I preview my data preview. I click on grid. Oh, I need to select this and then click on, okay, I'm good. And this is here, it says that the data was created from the Excel file, okay? Now here, notice that each column here, column name has an icon that you see depends on the data type, right? So when I click on the properties here, right, you can see that customer column is an identifier, and this is how we summarize. If I was going to run a summary on this column, it's going to count the distinct number of customers based on what I'm summarizing. Perhaps I can do it in a state, right? So this is how it is summarizing the column. All right. And the data type is a text. That's what ABC means. But on the other hand, if we select another column, right, it's going to give me, this one is claims amount is a measure, right? And it's a decimal. Is it? So, and another thing is this. Well, you can use, if you wanted to, you can put a screen tip. Screen tip is what you see in visualizations when you hover over that column name. Comment, this is more like an internal. Sometimes you may want to leave a comment about something. Okay. No, this is not a reference. Don't worry, we're not using this part here. And if you look at advanced, well, don't worry about that. It's just telling you, oh, wait a minute, do you see this? Sometimes if the column can have missing values, this checkbox is going to be checked, usually. If the columns have missing values, you have this checkbox, usually, okay? Because some of you, you're not sure how to check if there are missing values, right? Well, right now, this one is easy to see. It got null, right? But if you look, oh, another way, look, I selected before, when I looked at the properties of the column, I selected column here in the left panel and click selected properties, right? Alternatively, you can click on column heading here and select properties, right? Properties. So here you see that, well, if you click on advanced, do you see this checkbox is checked? It means that there are null values. This column can be null. It supports null values. Okay. Now, I'm going to close this. What else you could do here is, well, you can preview the property, you can preview the data, and you can also show hide columns. Well, the reason is sometimes you want the column to be used as part of the calculations, perhaps, but you don't want that column to be used directly for visualization. So you don't delete the column, but you hide it, right? Well, row ID, that's not something that we're going to be using for analysis, more likely, so it's hidden. But suppose that I want to hide the customer ID, what I would need to do is I would right click in here and I would say hide from users, okay? But then to unhide, I would click here and click show to users, okay? This is how to unhide. Or, well, if this is the last action that I took, these two buttons, you can undo the latest changes. And I believe it goes up to 20, something like that. Okay. So, and also it depends if I make some changes, save the file, close it, and then reopen, I will not be able to undo what I did in the last session. Okay. So now let's go back to the slides. We went over this create data module, right? I showed you how to do this, and then I showed you how to save it, right? Okay, we talked about the interface for the most part, right? And I showed you null is a way to represent the missing value. We looked about the, well, that's a data panel, right? Where you see the data. And source panel, you see the data that was used to create this data module, right? Row ID is hidden. Each column has an icon, which indicates the data type of the column, right? Now, I showed you the general properties of the column, but here what I did was I spelled it out. So column label, what is column label? Is a column name that is editable. Expression, we're gonna look at it, but usually for expression, we're taking it as is directly from the source, right? We talked about the aggregation. It will make more sense. It will make more sense as we start doing visualizations, okay? Trust me. Now, next thing is a data preparation topic. What is this? Well, you want to, sometimes you want to hide certain columns from the view. You can edit some of the column properties like the summarized, right? Like for example, especially if you're looking at the claim amount, I want the summary on average claim amount. I don't want to look at the sum, right? I don't want to add up the sum of all claims. I want to look perhaps what's an average claim amount in a certain state, right? For the certain vehicle type, if you will. Now you can also, you have to handle missing values somehow. And the way you do that, well, there is more than one approach. Sometimes you can filter the rows with missing values, and we're gonna do that because I have some rows where multiple columns missing a value. There is something called the imputation, where you can set missing values to the column average, right? And if you have a column which is missing too many values, you can just hide the column. Or you can also treat the missing values as a separate category for categorical column. And I created a set of videos for this course for Cognos. And there is a video that shows you how to code the missing categorical values with a special predefined value. All right. So in general, you would be handling outliers. In other coursework, they'll show you how to do this in upcoming. You're going to be adding the calculations. Calculations could be basic or it could be complex with the editor. You're going to be creating data groups and navigation paths. We'll talk about that. Okay, but this is just a general. But, well, hiding a column, I just showed you, right? Show hide, I showed you that. Now, we're going to talk about adding filters now. What is a filter? In general, the filter specifies the conditions that must be met for the data row to stay, right? So well, you need to define an expression, right? And there are multiple levels, there are different types of filters that we're going to look at. There is something called an embedded filter. Embedded filter is the filter that is applied immediately. Like for example, I want to keep only the records that have an effective to date, right? I want to filter out the records without effective to date, and it's going to apply immediately, right? So we're going to create one. And there are also selectable filters where that you can turn on and off, right? So let's go ahead, let's create that. Well, so see this here, this is my data, right? There is more than one way to do it, but I can do this. Look, I clicked on this and I'm gonna go to do manage filter. Now what I want to do is I'm going to select wire expression editor and I'm gonna click on add a filter, right? I'm gonna click on add a filter. Well, very important, you want to make sure that the filter name is descriptive, right? So I would say effective to date is not missing, right? That's what we're gonna do. Right now, we are going to filter, right? So for the row to stay, what has to happen? The effective to date, it's one of the column. It must have a value, right? So what is this? And here you see the column names, right? And in here you see different available operators on the columns, right? Different summaries and etc., right? And see this. So now, how do we do this? How do we add? You can type if you know the exact column names, or you can also do this. You can drag and drop effective to date, right? But what's going to happen to effective to date? Let's look at the operators. And we wanted to select effective to date is not missing, right? So what we need to find is, we need to find is not missing, right? So here it is. This is an expression. Now what you can do, you need to check, make sure it's valid. There is no syntax error, which is valid. This is an embedded filter. So right now, somewhere, if I had some of the records with missing effective to date, they're gonna be filtered out. So now I have to click on OK, right? I'm gonna click OK, and you see this, it's gonna refresh. And now I don't have any effective to date with missing values, okay? So we took care of it. This filter is embedded. It's defined here, see this? And I can do, if I wanted to, I can click on view and edit filter. And if anything has changed, I can just edit it, right? Now, so this is embedded. You also have an option to define something called selectable filter. That filter will not be applied immediately, but it's something that you may apply in your explorations. Like, for example, I want to look at a specific, like small claim amount for small vehicles, perhaps, right? I know that all of my visualizations will be looking at the specific criteria, right? So I could create a filter for that. Well, here, this is just the steps. See, this is what I did. You have the steps. Well, in here, this, we're gonna do this. We'll create a selectable filter, right? So, and we want to make sure that the vehicle policy type contains personal and the vehicle size is a small. So I want to look, sometimes when I'm doing visualizations, I want to focus on a small vehicle types and the policy type is personal. And because if I'm using this filter very often, I may define it to the data module, and then I can just turn it on and off. I don't need to repeat this definition everywhere I want to use it, right? So now what we can do is, I'm gonna go back. Well, look at this. When I click here, there is a filter here, and there's a filter also here. This one, this is an embedded filter. And this is what you use for the selectable filter. And I'm gonna use an expression editor, right? Create filter and expression editor. Let me see, let's do it again. So see this, let's close this, right? Or you could also click on a column to do that, right? But you just do this. See this, when I go here, and when I select this filter, it's gonna be the selectable filter. And I want to use the descriptive name. And when we get to the explorations, I'm going to explain to you why. But let's call it this personal coverage for small cars. Personal coverage for small cars. That's going to be the filter name. Okay. Now, I already have an expression that's supposed to be working. How am I going to copy and paste? I cannot do that, right? I cannot do it directly. Well, then what can I do? Let's look at what can I do. I can take this, right? I can take this thing here. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on that thing and it's gonna open this clipboard. I'm gonna paste it here, right? It's copied to the clipboard. And then I go back here and paste it here. Oops. Okay, it's here. Now, guys, I have a problem here. Well, do you see the problem? Let me show you the problem. When I'm gonna validate this expression, I'm gonna get an error. And the reason is because I've got the Microsoft quote in here, okay? So in general, it's not a good idea to type expressions in a PowerPoint, but if you guys do copy paste stuff from the slide that you're gonna get, remember this is the quote that you need to fix. Okay, so now things should be good. I'm gonna validate again. See, this expression is valid. The problem I had here was the quote. The Microsoft Word quote or PowerPoint quote versus this quote, okay? Now, well, this is a filter that I defined, and I need to scroll down here, click OK to save it. Let's see. Vehicle is small, right? Small vehicle. But if I look at my data, so scissors, it's not filtered, right? If I look at it, I still have the small vehicle scissors because this filter that I just created, it's not applied to the data. It just sitting there, it just defined. See this here, it's going to be listed right above my column names because I'm not applying it, I'm just defining it. See what I'm saying? Embedded filter is applied right away. Now, what we'll do, we talked about this, right? Next thing, I'm gonna show you how to fill the missing value with the average, column average. We know that our column called income, it has some missing values, right? And I want to set the missing value to the column average. So I'm gonna find the column, and sometimes if I don't see the column right away, you can do the search here. Here it is, this is income. Look, I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go to properties. See this is an expression. Expression says how I'm taking this value from the source. I click view and edit, right? I click here. Now what I need to do? I have to have an if statement, right? So where do I get an if statement? It's in a construct, and I need to do if then else. I'm gonna move it here, right? So what I want to happen is that if income is missing, then I want to do some expression. Otherwise, I want to keep income as is, right? I want to keep income as is if it's not missing. Otherwise, I want to take an average. Well, let's see how we do it. What is a condition? A condition is what? Income, right? And what is the operator? If I go here, operator, it should be what is missing, right? Here, income is missing. Then what are we gonna do in here? We're gonna take an average, right? And average is going to be in the summaries. This is an average, and I'm gonna drag and drop, right? Then we're gonna take average, and average what? Income, right? I have it in my clipboard here. Okay, this is average income. Now what we'll do, let's see if it's valid. It is valid, but it's very difficult to read. So what you've got here, I think this is called, no, not this. This is a pretty file, so that's supposed to do a little bit of indentation for you, okay? This is much easier to read, all right? Now, what you'll do is you're gonna scroll down and you're gonna click OK. Because if you click on X, then it's not gonna be saved, all right? I'm gonna click here. Now what's gonna happen? Let's close this guy here. And if we go to the income, you're no longer gonna see the missing values. Instead, the missing value was replaced with a column average. That's what I did, right? This is income. And if you scroll down, you're gonna see, I'm not rounding this intentionally so that you can see that what was done in here, okay? I did not specify it to round, but this is taking the average income value, okay? And of course, you can see this is 0, means person is unemployed, which makes total sense, right? The person is unemployed but still has income, but who knows, maybe the person is getting unemployment insurance or SSI, something like that. So, we can't make assumptions. Okay, but you'll be creative. Now, to undo the search, I click here, we'll clear the search here. Now, next thing, we talked about this. And then I have a video on how to replace the missing categorical value with the predefined value. I have that. I have it in the video. Now we're going to work on creating new data exploration from the data module. This is the next thing. So first of all, you have to save it. If you see this asterisk here, it means that you have not saved it. Now what you'll do, well, I usually close this. This is my welcome page. Notice that this recent was added to this here. One thing I wanted to mention is that don't make the silly mistake I made last semester. Here, if you click on action menu, remove from recent, it will remove this from recent files, which is fine, right? It's not going to delete the file, but if you select delete, it's going to delete the file, all right? So be careful. If you want to remove something from recent, select remove from recent, don't delete, because it's going to delete everything else. Now, let's do, now what we're going to do, we need to create data exploration. What is data exploration? It's basically a workbook that contains the set of visualizations, right? So more than one way to do this. One way is to go from my content, and I want to use the data module here. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna click here, and I'm gonna say, create exploration, right? I say create exploration, it's gonna open the new exploration workbook. But wait a minute, secretly, at the time when I was uploading my data, Cognos Analytics reviewed the relationships between columns. So now I'm gonna discuss this diagram in a minute, but first of all, this. What is this? This is what is your module. Those are your columns. Those are your columns, right? List of columns in your data. Now here, see that this is the selectable filters that we created. If you did not use the descriptive name, there is no way in the world to see what it is. You don't see how it was defined. You would have to go back all the way to the data module to see what it is. If you did not use the descriptive name of this filter, okay? So no way in the world to know whatever it was. Now, what you need to do is you have to save this first of all. I forgot, right? I need to go to my content, and I'm gonna say claims and weather exploration, weather exploration, right? I want to have descriptive names because later on I'm not gonna know what I did, right? Okay, here it is. This is a data exploration that I just saved. Now, so here you can see the same, you can see the similar properties, like for example, customer, right? You can add a filter, you can create data group, you can see the properties, right? But again, if you create a calculation here, it will be available only here. It won't be available in another explorations where you use the same data module as a source, okay? And any property you change here will apply only to this workbook, right? So basically here, this is one thing that you don't see here is that I believe it was row ID, something like that. There was a hidden column. You don't see it in here because it was hidden from the user's view. Now here, this is how you close this panel, right? Well, you want to close this. I close this panel because I want to focus on this panel now. And trust me, you may need to do some of the zoom in adjustments as you go. What is this? Let's talk about what is this. Across the top, you see the possible targets. What's a target? Well, Cognos was analyzing your data, and based on that, it was trying to think what you might be doing with this data. It kind of like guessed that probably more likely I want to look at the total claim amount. I want to estimate the total claim amount based on the customer information. car information and the maybe like oxygen type and the coverage, right? So here, this is probably the best choice for the analysis, right? Or sometimes someone may want to analyze a monthly premium author and etc. Right? Those are possible exploration. But here I'm looking at total claim amount. Here, every pin, every column is represented as a pin. Dark pin here, it's a column target. Well, you may see it called differently in the region. You can see target, you can see it as dependent variable, right? You can see multiple names called differently. But you know that this is what you're trying to predict, right? You're trying to, well, predict, or you can call estimate, because this is a numeric, right? The remaining columns are represented as lighter pins. Then here you have a connecting line between the target and other columns, which are also called independent variables, right? It's another name for it. And then you have a connecting line, and the thickness of the connecting line tells you the strength of the relationship. How strong is the relationship? Well, for example, we'll see here, I have total claim amount and employment status, right? And if I hover, it says the strength is 20%, right? Well, and some relationships can be direct or indirect. Like, for example, I don't see the direct arc between policy and total claim amount, but take a look at this. Policy drives monthly premium amount, well, which in terms drives total claim amount, okay? Now what you'll do is this. I think assignment refers to this as initial visualization, something like that. So if I click on it here, it's going to tell me what approximately it will try to figure out what I want to do. But remember the summary I was talking about? You see the problem? What it's doing, it's summing up all of the it's taking a sum of all of the claims amount, but that's not what I want to. I want to look at an average. But how do you fix it? Well, the best way to fix it is to go back to our data module and change the property for the column there. So that way it's fixed everywhere I use the data. Or, well, you can just fix it in here. I need to find the total claim amount, my total claim amount. I'm gonna go to the properties and I'm going to change this aggregation, and I want to look at the average, right? This is average. Okay, well, now you're gonna see the change, but I need to save this. Sometimes I forget to save. Okay, now what we're gonna do, look at this. I'm gonna click on it again, and this makes more sense, right? Because sometimes I want to look at the average claim amount by state, perhaps, or by certain accident type, right? So if I'm interested in the visualization, I just click on this, and it will add something called visualization card. The data exploration workbook contains a set of visualizations, also known as visualization card. There are lots of vocabularies in here. Okay, this is called visualization card. Now what I'll do here, and I can do see more, it's gonna give me what I might be interested in. It's just trying to see for me, right? And this is a driver analysis. We'll look at it later more in details. Well, I just did this, okay? Now what if I do this, if I go control click, right? And if I select two columns, it's gonna give me different visualization. See, this is a policy, this is total claim amount. More likely it's gonna give me something like total claim amount by the policy, right? Okay, I added this here. I added the card. Okay, so that's one way to add visualizations. But take a look at this. If I click on this visualization, it's gonna try to tell me a set of related visualizations that I might be interested in. And I can click on this plus to add that visualization too, right? Well, based on what I'm looking at, it's going to try to decide what else I might be interested in. And in here, details, it tries to tell me some insights. But please, please, please do not copy this word to word. You want to try to see your own insights. You may see something else, right? And here, this is called the data slots. So if you look at the list of columns, you specify what each bar represents, right? And it represents the policy, and you just drag and drop the field here, right? If you were doing it from scratch, you would drag and drop field here. And this is a length of the bar is it's an average claim amount, right? It's gonna show the average claim amount for policy. Okay. Well, so that's basically how it is. And you see this, if you see this little asterisk, it means that this slot is required. You have to specify something here, or you're not gonna see visualizations, okay? That's what it is. So here, this is a total claim amount, right? Average, and this is a policy type, okay? I hope it makes sense. Now, I've got 3 cards, right? And I can navigate between cards. Is this arrow here will navigate between those cards, or I can also go here and click on the card that I want to see. And to go back to the first page where that was open when we opened this workbook, I'm gonna click here. This takes me back to this diagram, okay? Okay, now, well, there are multiple ways to add visualizations. Another way is to do it explicitly. And we're gonna do this. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do new. I'm gonna do new and I'm gonna do this new card. Okay. Now I'm gonna do this choose type and I want to do this one. You have to do this guy here, spiral model. Let's do spiral first. Okay, now what does that mean, this little asterisk? It's required. I must specify the target what right? And I want to predict the total claim amount. This is my target. Let's see what this does. You have a set of pins in here, and each pin corresponds to the combination of predictors. It could be a single predictor or a combination of columns that predict the total claim amount. There is something called a one driver. It means that when the single column is a predictor. So if I uncheck it and I want to see just the single column, one-way drivers, you see this vehicle class is the strongest predictor when you look at it in isolation. Then you've got monthly premium, author, employment status, and income. One thing to keep in mind is that the predictors with the strengths below 10% are omitted, okay? It's only gonna show the predictive strengths more than 10%. And one thing to note is that when we do the decision tree, the predictor with the highest strength, one-way driver with the highest strength, it's going to be the first split. So when we look at the decision tree soon. But remember that vehicle class is a column that will be used for the first split in a decision tree. If you're not sure what that means, just remember this vehicle class for right now. Just take a note, vehicle class, you'll see it later. Okay, now here this is 2 drivers, right? Well, this is a combination of fields, is this? Like vehicle class and employment status, those 2, right? And then here I can hover over the pin and it's gonna list me the columns and the strings. The closer this little dot to the center of the bullseye, the stronger is the prediction, right? So that's what it is. Now what will happen, see this is the details. There are no details in this case, right? So I can just go back and check all, right? And if so, combination means that you have more than one column, more than 2 columns that drives this. Okay. Now, another thing is this. Earlier, I added another visualization here, which was called driver analysis, right? This driver analysis visualization, you can think of it as a spiral diagram slice. So what you see here is that it shows you the strengths, right? The predictive strengths. The closer the pin to the right, the higher is the strength, right? Well, and you can also click on this, right? So remember, oh, you can toggle it here. No, you cannot toggle this. Here you cannot toggle it. But if I look at this, well, this is a one-way driver, right? So I'm looking at the visualization and it's showing me visualization for whatever the driver is, right? And the target. And here is also one-way driver, right? It's going to show me the visualization for monthly premium out in this case and total claim amount. Well, because this is a single driver, right? One column. It's going to try to find a suitable visualization, right? Okay, so this is a total claim and vehicle class. If I wanted to, I could also add it as a card, right? It won't do it for this one, but we'll do it for the green one. But let's look at the red first. Well, take a look. This is a two-way driver, right? So this is how it's represented. You have by claim amount and number of policies, right? So you have it will try to find the best visualization based on a number of columns you're looking at and based on column data types. Okay, that's what it's doing. Now, well, we have three. This is a combination of predictors, and it has the highest predictive strength at any of this in isolation. So what it's doing, it's building the decision tree for you. If you wanted to, you can just do this, create new and select decision tree and specify the target. You can do it this way, or I'm going to take a shortcut. I'm just going to do this at the card. So this is a decision tree. Let's talk about that. Well, at this part of presentation, it can be done in different order, but I'm going to knock it out, right? Slides in slightly different order, but I'm going to cover this now since we are on it. Okay, now, well, here, this is just describing the details. Now, little housekeeping, I want to close this, right? I want to close this panel so that I can see that easily. Little lie detector test. Does Yelena tell the truth? Well, let's see. Here, you see a bunch of branches, right? The branches can be collapsed. Let's collapse. Well, people, what do you see here? Let's collapse it. Well, collapse. But once this is done, you're gonna see something. Let me adjust the zoom again. Well, you're gonna have to do some adjustments, okay, back and forth. So, the nodes are collapsible. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. Well, here we go. Let's look at it right now. So basically, this is the root node. The root of the tree, which represents all data. Each node represents a collection of data that matches certain criteria. Okay. Oh, my sound becomes weak. Oh, sorry thank you for letting me know. I'm trying to speak louder. Okay, no problem. Thank you for letting me know. I hope it's not that bad. Okay, so here, what I have here, this represents a set of all data. Everything, right? All data. Now here, notice that vehicle class, right? This column, this is the first column that I use to split, okay? This is the first column. Remember when we looked at the diagram, there was a one-way driver called vehicle class, right? I showed you the one-way driver with the highest strength. This is what is used as the first split column for the decision tree. So the way we do it, it consists a set of nodes, and each node represents a set of records in the data, right? A branch or a path from the root node to the leaf node is a rule. Each leaf node at the end, it's a prediction, right? So here in this case, you're going to be predicting the average claim amount. So I would say the records that fall into the terminal node have an average claim amount, etc. See that the color code represents the value, right? The darker the color, the higher is the total claim amount, okay? Well, so see here, first of all data is here. What do we do? Now we're going to ask a question. Is it's a two-door car or four-door car? Well, if answer is yes, then we take this part, right? So here is this, we get the set of rules, right? The vehicle is a two-door car, right? If not, we continue. Is it a SUV sports car, etc., right? Or is it a luxury car, right? So I'm going to collapse and I'm going to select this. Well, another thing is, look, if you hover, it's going to show you the number of records, and it's going to also show you the percentage of data. Well, in this case, it's taken 9,136, all data. But if my data set was more than 10,000, it would take a sample. If some of the data sets in assignments are bigger, so what it will do is it will try to select the best sample that represents the data. But this is the average, overall average claim amount, right? Now what we do is this. We are splitting. It shows me how many rows fall into this node. Do you see this? This is 6,000 plus, right? Cars that meet this specific criteria. Vehicle class, right? Now, and this is the average, see, for this specific vehicle class. But we want to do it further, right? Because vehicle class is not the only factor that determines the average claim amount. We're gonna click here, take a look at what's gonna happen, and we need to collapse this stuff, right? Well, because if you want to look at the specific conditions sometimes, right? You want to look at specific. When you take a screenshot of this for your assignment submission, focus on the branches of the tree that you are discussing. More likely you want to discuss the dominant rules, right? But still, if the rule is least dominant, it does not mean that it's not important, right? Well, but see here, this is a next one. You're gonna ask if the person is employed. If the person is employed, you're gonna take this path, right? And this is the number of records that fall into this node. Then we continue. We're looking at the monthly premium, right? And etc., right? So this is a percentage of data that falls into this node. And we're gonna continue, right? And this is the vehicle size. Basically, the process continues. There are multiple stopping conditions here. First condition is that no more columns to split based on, right? You don't have any more significant predictors to split. Another thing is that the terminal node, right, node at the end is also known as leaf node. It cannot have more than 25 records. It cannot have more than 25 records. It's a limit. And another limit is that the tree cannot have more than 36 nodes. It's just how it's defined in here, all right? Well, see this vehicle size small. Is this the last node? Yes. So this is one of the rules. The way we read this is that vehicle class, if vehicle class is two-door car, and if the person is employed, if this is a monthly auto premium and vehicle size is small, then approximately the average claim amount is going to be $342. It's an estimate. And this is how many cars this rule is applicable to, right? Well, it's very difficult to see. Here, this visualization shows you the rules, but it does not show you the proportion of data that the rules, it does not tell you what portion, what fraction of data this rule applies to. We need to look at different visualization, and I'll show you, right? All right, and also if you notice at some point there was a little square here. So like if I expand all, you're gonna see the square. Well, here, see this node, I can expand all, right? Or I can see the top 5 or bottom 5. Okay, sometimes it's not when you try to expand. Well, see this, it's a lot. And you saw this little square here. If you can just, if you see it, you can use it to navigate around the tree. Okay, like when I click here, you saw that little square. You can use it to navigate around the tree. Okay. Oh, my mic become muted. How? I'm not muted. Okay, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best, guys. Okay. Uh, is it just is it for everybody? Guys, is it for everybody? Because my mic is not muted to my knowledge. Make sure that Alfred, you also cannot hear me? Oh, muffled. Okay, I'm trying my best to speak as clearly as I can. I'm trying. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, now, so let's see. Uh, okay. Uh, could be, that could be. Sometimes the network could do it, but my internet is a high speed as far as I know. Okay. Now let's take a look at the different visualization. And what I did was there is a video that shows you more examples. Well, see this here, as you traverse the tree, you can look at the sunburst at the same time. Let me go ahead and collapse the tree. I want to collapse it first, and I wanted to show you what's going to happen. Because that visualization expands and collapses based on what you're doing here on the tree, right? Or I can go back here and I could try to collapse and expand too, right? But I prefer doing it on the tree diagram. See, the tree diagram adjusts as you adjust this as you adjust this tree diagram, the sunburst diagram adjusts. I want to collapse everything because I wanted to show you something. But sometimes it's a little bit too slow. It's a little bit too slow. Yes, decision tree are relevant to assignment 3, but there is a little bit on, the current assignment, there is something, very little, but this is assignment 3, right, guys? And I have a lot. I have 3 videos for this, at least 3. Okay, now let's collapse this. Okay, now I'm happy. Take a look at this. When I go back to the sunburst, what it's going to show me here, it's going to show me the fraction of the cars that belong to each vehicle class. Rather. See, this is, I see that most of the rules in my data apply to two-door cars. This is the majority of my data. 71% of my data falls into this slice, right? This one here is the second dominant, and this is a number of rows, right, to which this applies. This is a percentage. Sometimes you want to find the rules that sort of like represent your data the most, if you will, right? Well, this one is a list. It's only 4% of data belongs to this area. So probably, I cannot tell you that ignore this. No, this data can be important too. But for the purpose of the assignment, you probably want to then focus on this section here because this represents most of your data. Now I can click on this further. Well, it's going to show me how it breaks down, right? But I did not want to go that far. Oh, see this little rectangle? You can use this to navigate through the tree, basically. That's what that is. But let me go ahead. I don't want to expand that too much. See, this is a two-door car. Now, if I collapse this guys here, I want this collapsed. I want to show you something here. Well, if you look at the sunburst diagram, what does the second layer do? It's gonna take two cars. It's going to take this two-car thing and it's going to break it down further. Unemployed, medical leave, or this one, employed. Now you're going to see that most of your data is this two-door car and person is employed. And I can keep going, right? Those are the rules that apply to most of your data. And you can hover here. It's going to give me give you more information like number of rows and the average total claim amount and etc. Right? But if you look at this one here, this slice, this is least dominant, but I'm not telling that least dominant can be ignored. No, you probably want to study that one too, right? Okay. Now, I hope it makes sense. And another one here, these are rules that are spelled out, right? Basically, what is a rule? Let's say it's sort of like you have set of records, right? And it's basically a general sort of like description, right? It's a general description. What's going on? Now it says it cannot load the visualization. Do you guys can hear me? I'm afraid it could be network issue. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, good, good, good. Well, right now, let me try again. I did not delete anything. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, there we go. Well, it works. At least this works. Well, it's loading, but okay, here it is. Those are the rules. Those are the rules, right? Okay, good. Excellent. So now here are the rules, and it also tells you this is the average claim amount. And here it shows me to the fraction of data to which this applies, okay? And I can also go back to my tree diagram. And when I take the rule, I can traverse. I can trace that rule starting from the root node, going all the way to the leaf node. Okay, you can do that. All right, but here, those are the rules that are written in English. Okay, now you can also you can sort it by the predicted value, right? And here it's a fraction of data, right? Here this rule is not common, but it doesn't mean you ignore it, but if you can see 30% of your data falls here. See this? So probably this is an average total claim amount if the car meets this criteria, okay? Well, this piece is very important for your assignment 3, that's right. And see this here, tree diagram, it uses the set of the predictors, right? What else you can do is this. Look, show the details, data slots, right? Well, this is a target. Here, what you can do is you can specify which columns you can use as a driver, edit drivers. See, this is what you're gonna do. You are asked to create 2 models for the same variable, right? So probably you want to look at different combinations. Well, claim amount, probably I don't want to look at it because I'm looking at the total claim amount, right? Here, or you could have some calculated columns, right? That you want to use. Perhaps instead of monthly premium amount, you can look at annual premium amount, something like that. I'm just giving you examples. So here you can look at different subsets, or you can filter your model. You can look at the most dominant, right? Which was this two-door cars. You want to look at this, look at the section, right? So just think about it, because you have to do it for the assignment 3, right? So assignment 3, you're going to be looking at the tree diagram, driver analysis, and the sunburst. But important, keep in mind that the first split here is a one-way driver with the highest strength, okay? Just know that, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at other stuff, but, oh, well, see this? This is another visualization. It just shows the average claim amount. But I want to show you why we created the filters. Watch here. This is a filter, right, that we defined. Suppose that I want to look at average claim amount for personal coverage for small cars. What I'll do is I go here, local filters, and it's going to filter this one for me. Did I write any additional code? Did I have to do anything else? No. What I did is I just drag and drop. That's it. And if I'm no longer interested, I can just go in here. I can say remove filter. It will remove filter from visualization, but it will still stay here. Okay. And again, if I don't use descriptive names, there is no way in the world to know what it is without going back to our data module. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Now, so, and see that this visualization just shows the average, right? It does not show you anything else. Okay. Oh, and you can do, see, those are just related visualizations that it will think that you might be interested in. Okay, that's what it is. So when you ask about related questions, not sure exact wording in assignment, but those are this. Okay. Well, so we talked about adding visualization from initial visualization as related visualization, but I have not talked to you about this little guy here. Little guy right here. Oops. This is called the assistant. well, what I can do in here is this. I can type data. I can type data and it will give me the data that is available for me, right? Well, I'm looking at the claims and weather data module. I'm gonna click here. Watch what happened. Behind the scene, it's gonna run this command. It's gonna say show source, and this is the name of the data module, right? And here it's gonna list me all the columns and their data types. See this? Those are the columns and their data types. And I can click on more to see more of them, right? More or less. Now what I can do is I can click on column, on any of the columns, like total claim amount, and it's going to give me the details for that column. See, this is equivalent to running the command show column, total claim amount. See that? Now, here it's gonna give me the column characteristics, right? So it's a continuous and it has an outlier. See, I know that this column has values that are way too small or way too large, right? Outlier, something totally different from others. It has low repetitions of values. Well, and it says, well, it recognizes it as kind of like a monetary and that it's quantitative. See this? Now here, and see some interested field related to total claim amount. Do you see this? There is those. It tries to say, okay, this could be related to what you're looking at. Okay, like perhaps employment status, right? I'm going to click on employment status right now. And what is it going to do? It's going to do the visualization, right? Do you see that? This is a visualization. Total claim amount by employment type. And I can scroll through this. It gives me a set of visualizations to choose from, right? I can select any of them that I want. Oh, and I like this table here too. Okay, so I can select any of this and I can add this as a new one, as a new card. Well, how do you do it? One way to do it is this. I'm gonna click on new, click on single, then I'm going to just pick something, right? Which one do you guys like? This one? Okay, I'm just gonna go here, drag and drop, and it's gonna show me the visualization. Well, there we go, right? It's showing me what? The bars, each bar, it's a required employment status, right? And etc. And I can change visualization type if I want to as well, right? So, well, this is employment status and total claim average. I can go to here and I can change how it looks like. I don't have to even pick any of the suggestions when I could, but I don't have to. I can do something else, right? I can go, I can close this out. Oh, well, one way to get back is to go to the cards and you can click on the card that you look interested in. This is a card. Well, I can select, this is where I can change the visualization type. This is a recommended visualization, but I can scroll down and I can select anything that I want to select, right? Like for example, if I want to do the table, I can select table and it's going to readjust it for me. See this? Well, it adjusted for me. See, this is showing me now as a table. I could change it. Another thing is this. Here it shows you the data that is being visualized, right? So I did not really need to change it as a table because I can see it here. So let's do this. Let's undo, right? I'm just showing you can undo it. This is the visual. And in here, it shows you the data that is being visualized, okay? Now let's go back to the slides and pick up everything that we did not cover. Because here you can do, there's different approach you can take, the order in which you cover this. Okay, now, well, here I showed you how to create new exploration, right? You created, for assignment 2, starting from assignment 2, you create an exploration from data module. For the very first assignment, you're creating it from data set, but only once. This is the exploration interface, right? And I may have talked to you about this element, but I may not have. Let's see again. Well, here, this will take you, this is a home page. This will take you back to the home page. Notice this here, this exploration is added to the recents right now, right? Now I want to come back to exploration. I come back here, right? And I want to save it. And here are the cards that I can access to. Pins, we're gonna discuss pins next time. And this one, what is this? This just shows you the columns in the data. Now we're gonna go back to this here. I showed you that. We talked about adding visualizations, right? You can add from related visualizations, or you can do, well, we will talk about the comparison visualization, but you can also do this. Look, I'm gonna do new single card. I can, if I wanted to, just drag and drop. I can just drag and drop the columns that I want to look at, right? Like this one, total claim amount, I just drag and drop. Well, it's gonna show me what? It's gonna show me the average, but I want to also do by coverage type. Let's see what's gonna happen. See this? I just drag and drop. And it knows what I want to look at, see? That's one thing, see this? Coverage type and the total claim amount, right? Or you can also add more stuff like a color by, right? Etc. Color by, it's gonna split each bar, right? It's gonna split, like for example, see this? I have a coverage, right? Basic type, coverage type. And then if I go here and if I add the state to color by, for each bar, oops, it's just gonna show me the distribution. Oops, I did not want to do this. Sometimes you really need to be really careful when you drag and drop, and you have to be patient because you want to make sure that the slot where you're dragging it to lights up. If it does not, then it's not gonna do what you want it to do. Okay, and still it did not do it. So let me delete this. Don't worry about this. But if you do this, you can color it. You can color it, right? By the state, right? Then the bar will be split apart into the sections based on the state. Now let's do this. Well, suppose that I don't like the visualization that I just created. What I can do is here, look, this will delete the card, right? Or I can also click here to delete, right? Well, we're gonna talk about pings next time because it will make more sense when we start doing the dashboards, when we start reusing the visualization. We're not doing it right now. Well, okay, so we talked about this part. We talked about this diagram. We talked about the suggested starting points. We talked about using embedded assistant, except for this. Going back. Well, this is embedded assistant. Notice that what you search for is saved unless you clear it, unless you click reset everything. And if you want to rerun the command that you ran before, you just double click on this and click enter. Okay, it will run it again. Now here is this assistant is available. This is the same thing. Okay, this is the same assistant. And the same assistant will be available in dashboards. So we're going to talk about next time. It's a lot to talk. Okay, now let's go back to the slides. Well, this is just how to check the column information. I just spelled it out for you, right? And you can also say show column total claim amount. It's going to show you the property for the column and visualizations for the column. And this is what influences, right? And it's going to give you the set of fields. Then you click on that field to see the visualization, right? So this is really, they call it intuitive, but well, and also if you see, you scroll through the suggested visualizations and it's going to give you the insights, right? And they're going to give you insights in natural language, which is nice, isn't it nice? But please don't copy the insights straight into your paper. You want to focus, on learning and seeing your own. Now, what is a navigation path? Navigation path allows us to drill through the data. Let's look at good example might be, you just finished assignment 1. Suppose that I want to know the assignment 1 average grade. So I can look at it perhaps by session because I can look at it by the semester, right? There are multiple semesters when the course was taught. From the semester, within the semester, I can drill down, right? There are multiple data 610 sessions, so I can drill down by the session and etc. Right? So this is what basically it is. Also, well, it's Sometimes you may use it for when you have like a trend analysis or something summarized by the year, then you want to look at the months and you want to look at the day, right? Or also if you have locations, like in this case, we have a state, right? And then within each state, we have different location types. So let's create the hierarchy here. And here, right now, I'm going to be using an example with 2 columns. But in a video, in one of the videos, I do an example with 3 columns, okay? So now here, I'm gonna add navigation path to this exploration. But the problem is that this will not be available elsewhere because I'm creating it in this exploration, okay? I'm gonna click here, create navigation path. And what I want to do is this. I want to show the state code, right? I want to show the state code, and then I also want to do the location code. There we go, right? So this, it names it for me. This is the state code and broken down by the location code. I know it does not make sense at the moment, but well, this is what I do here. And then you need to click on OK, because if you X out, we won't be closing it correctly. Well, see this is a state, and it's broken down by location code inside the state. I know that it does not make sense at the moment, but what we will do is you're gonna visualize it. And in here, I believe I'm using the heat map for this. Okay, to drill through the customers. Here, I think I'm showing the number of customers in this case. Well, let's do this. Let's do new, and I'm gonna do new visualization, and I'm gonna go choose type, and I think I have to select well, but I can select the tree map, right, which is part of the whole, and let's see what's gonna happen. Now I have to say this. I need to say the area hierarchy, and in my case, let's select this is a hierarchy, right? I'm gonna go here and select the state, right? The state, and the size is gonna be. I want to do the number of customers. So this here, I'm gonna drag the customer. But how do I know that it's gonna count for me? Well, I know that the reason I know it's because, well, if I click here, if I see the summarize, it's gonna count the number of customers, count distinct. It's not gonna count the number of claims, it counts the number of customers, because each customer may have multiple claims, right? Distinct is gonna do that now. Okay, well, if you do this, look, if you click here, it shows you what data is being visualized, number of customers in a state. But remember that I can drill down, right? So let's close this. This is what hierarchy does. I can click on this here, right click. Take a look at this. I can click here, drill down. What is it gonna do? It's gonna show the breakdown for the state, right? So if I look at my data in here, look, I'm looking at the location code in Maryland. Oh, Missouri, I'm sorry, I'm always Missouri. And this is the number of customers. Missouri, rural location and suburban, right? Within that state, I'm looking at the number of customers in each type of location, if you will, right? Okay, now let's see. We look at this, but then you can go back. This is how you move back, right? You can go back and forth. And there is a video where I'm doing an example with 3 columns. Okay, but you need to understand 2 first, and then you watch the video more advanced. Okay, now let's go back. I know it's a long presentation, but next thing is calculations. I covered the decision tree later here, but then we'll just skip the slides. Calculation, what is this? It's an expression, right? We defined another column. It's derived from existing column. Okay, so let me save this and let me close this. Now I'm gonna be adding something to the data module. So close this. You edit the data module, and in the end, when you're done editing the data module, you close it. You reopen the data exploration, and you're gonna see the new columns that you added to the data module, but you have to reopen it. Okay? Now I opened this data module. Remember, we worked as a data module here, and I can add the new calculation. Calculation is nothing but what? New column. Okay, now See this, what I do is this, and I do new calculation, right? Well, there are two types of calculations, I need to say. Two types of calculation. First type is an embedded calculation. It's a calculation that will be stored as a column. The value will be stored for each row, okay? Then there is also a standalone calculation that generates only one value, and it's not stored in this as a column in every row, okay? So remember this, there are two types of calculations, the embedded one, right? And the standalone. Okay, now I want to create a new column, and I want to call this as annual premium, right? Annual premium. And what I'm going to do is I have a monthly premium, right? Monthly premium, and I can do this multiplied by 12, right? So far so good. And now I'm gonna do the check, right? Validate, and this is going to be a new column. Annual premium is gonna be monthly premium times 12, right? That's it. And I'm gonna click on OK, right? And that what it did is it added another column. Okay, it added another column, annual premium. And maybe that's what I want to use for analysis, etc., right? Which is good, no problem. Now I'm gonna do something more complex. I want to know perhaps the average income. I want to know the average income based on a state, in a state. And I want to create, I want this to be the same embed, I want it to be embedded calculation, right? Stored as a column. Well, what I need to do is this. Look, I click here, and I'm gonna do calculation. Now I'm gonna be doing something different. I'm gonna be taking what? I'm gonna be taking, this is a summary, and I want to take average, right? And I want to take average, what column? The income, right? So I'm gonna go back here. This is a list of columns, and I need to find the income. I'm taking average income, but not all. I want to take average income for, and then I specify what I want to do that. Perhaps I want to look at the state, right? So I created a new column, and the new column will be average income for state. Oh, why is it underscore? Oh, maybe because it's a reserved word. Okay, let's do validation. Let's see if it's, oh, see that? Maybe I typed underscore by accident. Okay, let's see that now. It should be valid. Expression is not valid, so you guys have to know what you're really doing. So you have average, right? And well, if I click here, it's gonna give me the explanation, right? For expression. So you want to put the average, and you take in what? Average income, right? And then you're gonna specify for, and then in here, you're gonna specify the expression, right? Or, and then you're gonna specify the columns that you want to look at, perhaps like marital status or something, or the state, right? It should work. I'm gonna find it in the slide somewhere. I'm doing it. Okay. Okay, it should work. Yes, it works. Okay, so here it is. Income for marital status. Now it's working. I had some type of syntax error somewhere. Now, and here I'm gonna name it income for marital status. I'll just name it, okay? Okay, well, see this? I think part of the problem is that my column name contains spaces. So it puts an underscore for the space. That's what this is. Now, I'm going to save this. Click OK, okay? So this is an embedded calculation. It created as a column. But if I wanted to create a standalone calculation, I would have to click here and click the new calculation in here, right? And the calculation, perhaps I can call like an average income, right? Average income. Notice that I clicked at a different place, right? And I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna find the summaries, and I'm gonna click on the average, right? And I just put average income. It's just gonna return the single value. Sometimes there are good reasons you want to do this, right? and the column is going to be income. Well, sometimes it's just a single value that you want to use it in your analysis, but you don't want this to be stored as many times as the number of records, right? But see, the syntax is a little bit different. What is this? This is the original file was in Excel. This is a tab name in the original Excel file, and it's taking this income. Now I'm gonna do this okay, and what it's doing is this here. This is a standalone calculation. Okay, okay. Oh, what is this? What's the scope? Oh no, it's not just the scope. It's yeah, the scope too, because you can use it outside this data module. Excellent question. Yeah, you can use it outside this data module. Yes, yes, yes. That's right. And also, you're not storing it with every single row. You're storing it once because it's just a single value, right? So you create it here. It's a standalone calculation. Embedded calculation, on the other hand, it's stored in it's stored with each rows. Okay. And I think in one of the videos, I'm showing an example of both. I'm doing something like more complex, something crazy. And there is a bonus example where I'm using a case statement inside the calculation. So please make sure to watch that, okay? Especially if you aim for an A, you need to do a little bit more than minimum expectation. So try to, okay? Now, so that's about the calculation. It creates a new column, and you can use these columns for analysis, right? All right. Now we're going to talk about the data group. Data group is also known as binning, and you can do that for numeric column and for the categorical columns. I realize that, guys, this is a little bit tough, if you will, but see this. Let me give you a real life example of the data group. You're great, right? When instructor submits your grade to the academic records, she's not going to put something like 89% or 95%. She's going to put what? Letter grade, right? So this is an example of the binning. If the numeric grade is 90 through 100, it's an A, right? 80 through 89 is a B, and etc. This is an example of binning, right? You are breaking the values based on that. You're assigning specific label to a certain values range, if you will, right? So you can do that, or you can also group the categorical values into bigger categories, right? So now, what I did was I created a detailed video for categorical and for numeric. The difference is that for numeric, it's gonna predefine the groups for you. Like for example, see, let's take something like an income. I'm going to click here, and I'm gonna do create data group, right? And well, this it's an original column name. It's gonna name it as income group, and by default, it's gonna do this. It did 5 groups for me, and I believe that it's doing the equal bits, because if you look in the books, there are different ways to define the bins. You can do the custom edges, or you can do the based on frequency or the width. Okay, I'm going to keep as is, right? And I'm gonna hit create. So this is the category. It will do the discretization or binning. There's multiple way to call it. That's it. Income. And when I look at it, and I have this, I have income group edit as a column, but I realize that it's very difficult to look at it this way, but you can just drag and drop the column. You can move it. Oh, another thing is this. It's very difficult to, well, first time when you see it, it will be hard to understand, but what it's doing is this is a hidden column, and it's telling me the bin number. It's a bin number where the value falls into. So see, you have like an income, right? And it tells you, see, this is a group, and this is a third group. This is a group number 3, right? If you look at this, see, if you look at this, if you do edit data group, right, edit definition, you see this. This is the range, right? Those are the ranges. And each range sort of like has a number. It just numbers it. It's a hidden column. This is how it's working, okay? This is a hidden column. Okay, Now you can also group, you can create a group for the categorical columns, okay? Like if I go, this is my policy. Look, I can do this way too. I can click here, I can create the data group. And I want to call it policy group, but see, look, I have to define my own groups. It does not define the group for me. Here as a list of values, and I can do something like this, corporate, right? This is a corporate, and then I can just do. I have to specify which values go into it, right? I just do this. This will put these values in a group for me, okay? So this is a big difference. I need to define my own groups, and I can do new group and etc., right? So just to save time, I'm gonna close this because, well, what I have is that I have a video on this that shows the details, okay? I have a video, and what you'll need to do, you just save this field if you were going to finish it, right? Okay, so I have a detailed video that shows how to do it for the categorical columns, right? Okay, so now let's see. Well, this is just an explanation of what it's doing, and I used a different column here to show. But there is a video where I explain in the details, very lot of details, and I think I'm using this this same column as here. This is categorical. Categorical you have to define. Now, we already talked about the spiral model. Good news, we can skip this, yay. The edit drivers. Remember, you can specify which columns you use for the drivers. This is the case for the decision tree and for the spiral models, all right? So you would need to rewatch this portion of the video when you get closer to assignment 3. And same thing here. We talked about the driver analysis earlier, right? We talked about decision trees, so we can skip this slide. We talked about the rules, right? Sunburst visualization, we talked about it too. We did not talk about this. This might be the last topic for tonight. So I'm gonna do the save here as is. And what I'm gonna do now, I'll close this data module. I'm returning to this exploration. And I want you to see that all the calculations that you created should be here. Why? Because we used the main data module that was used as a source for this data. This is your calculation, right? It's a standalone calculation. Now, here are my cards, right? What I could do is I could take any visualization like this one, right? Well, this is employment status and this is a total claim amount average. I can go to the slots here and I can filter it, but let's hope that this works because drag and drop sometimes could go unexpected. So let's go to the gender. Drag and drop, let's see. Oh, see this? This has to be shaded, then it should work. Okay, now I want to filter this only by females, right? So this is my females, female. Now what I'll do, I'll go back to this visualization in here. It's here. And let me do the copy. I'm gonna duplicate it rather, right? I have to duplicate it. Okay, so this is another copy. And let me do this here. I'm gonna go to filter. It's a second copy, right? It's a copy. I'm gonna go to filter and I want to check it male. Now I want to answer the question, does the gender have an impact on total claim amount? What you can do is you can select both. You can select both visualizations. Then you click here and you're gonna do the compare. What this is gonna do, it's gonna put two visualizations side by side. And I can select the data point here and compare it here. Well, the difference is the male and female. And you can see, like for example, I'm looking at the employed, males and employed female. Does the gender have an impact on average claim amount? And etc. Well, as you can see here, there is a little impact, right? And especially if you look at this, see, this is our female, right? Those are the a female on medical leave, right? Who could have the lower average claim amount than the male on the medical leave, and etc. Or you can compare side by side like this, right? Okay, this is for the side-by-side comparison. Just know that. So this is a comparison, but there is a little bit of confusion in the vocabulary. When you look at your first assignment due next week, you are asked to, last question, you are asked to do the comparison visualization type. But this is what you're asked to do. If you're doing this, you're gonna go to the new, right? You're asked to do this, choose type, and the last question asks you to select any of these. Last question in the assignment due next week, it's asking you to select any of these, anything in this row, and any columns that you would like, and explain what columns you selected, include a screenshot, and explain the insight. So that's basically what you see in the visualization, what it means for you. Like if I was writing it, probably the same visualization, same columns, probably your writing is going to be different from mine. Maybe, more likely. I mean, trust me. Okay. Well, I've seen sometimes students use the same data that I used when I was a student, but our findings are totally different. So there's more than one way to approach it. Okay. Now let's take a look at this one here. What else? Well, this is how to save the expiration. I already showed you, right? You're gonna be saving to my content, right? And another thing is that, well, this link is also in the classroom. There is a playlist that I put together for you, and it covers some topics in more details, right? How to handle missing values for categorical, for numeric, and different examples of filtering. Then there is one on a case statement. Well, because see, people are at different level, and I decided to do something for advanced students. But sometimes it, you might be wondering how to do something, right? And your question may end up turning into a video. Somebody asked a question, but it's hard to explain without actually showing. I made a video, and then I said, oh, wait a minute, let me share with the rest of the class. Others may want to see that too, you know. Okay, now your turn, questions. I like questions. I know, I realize what time is it, but guys, I know this session is huge. Next one usually a little bit shorter. Okay, the first session is always huge. I'm throwing a lot of information at you, but you will have to watch this more than once. You will have to watch it more than once, right? Okay, and another thing is that the assignment, which is due next week, try to knock it out as soon as possible, because it will give you access to assignment 2, which takes some time. Okay, and myself, I try to live by something called 24-hour rule. I try to have the work done 24 hours ahead of the deadline. That way I'm not impacted by anything like a system outage, power outage, etc. Those things could happen at the last minute. I try not to be impacted, so 24 hours ahead. Okay, it's not a question, it's a request. Please add data file. Yes, this data file is already in the team content. Let me quickly show you where it is, because I realize that people use different approach to learn things, and there are a lot of people who like to follow along, including myself. So I took care of it. Look at this. This is a, let's go back here. See this crumb here? It shows you where you are right now. So this is the data, and this is a walkthrough data. Walkthrough data, and this is what I use today, claims and weather. Just claims and weather. I use this data. So you would need to do is you just need to do this, click here, and you would need to copy or move and make a copy of this to your folder. That way you will be able to follow along the demo. It's not in your team content. Oh, your team content folder is empty. Oh, please go ahead and submit the please put the ticket. Please. I'm gonna take care of it. This is a very easy fix. I just need to add you to the group. Okay? And you're using the Cognos Analytics on a UMGC system, right? I have to add you to the group. This is a very easy fix. Oh, you have submitted. I'm gonna take care of it after this session. It's a very easy fix. What I have to do is this. I need to log out. I need to log out from this account, go to my admin account, find your username, and just add you to the group. It's very quick. It's a no-brainer, okay? But your name is Lopo. Okay. I'll take care of it. Okay, no problem. It's you see, yes. So for me, this thing is a no-brainer, because I've been doing it for a long time. I know it sounds frustrating, but just know it. For me, easy, I'll do it. Okay, and I'll respond to the ticket, no worries. This is minor because, few minutes and it's done. Okay, if you guys cannot see the content of the team content, you just submit the case. It's very easy fix. It's because this is controlled by groups and you're gonna learn more. You're gonna learn more when we get closer to assignment 5 because there will be groups, designated group for your folder. All access here is controlled by the group. There is a group called everybody in a data extend, and I need to add you to that group. That's it. It's very simple fix. Okay? No problem. I'll do it as soon as we're done with this session. I just don't want to show everybody admin stuff. It's more confusing than you think it might be. Okay? Now, any other questions? Any other questions? Because yes, I have access to Salesforce too. I'll take care of it. No problem. Okay? No questions. Professor Moretter, anything you would like to add? Because you'll be here. Go ahead.
No, we'll send the recording. We'll send the recording and the slide first thing in the morning. And I'll send the instructions to my students. And I just want to thank you for talking for almost 2 hours. Bless your heart. Thank you so much.
Oh, you might have noticed. Sometimes I was getting a little bit, but then I figured out you have to speak from inside.
No, thank you so much.
No problem.
And I want to thank the students that made the time to attend tonight.
And and if you look at the calendar, on March 2nd is going to be the next session. See, 4 weeks from today, March 2nd. Just please make sure to set aside the time. Put it on your calendar. Huh?
Just one more thing. The next assignment is the IBM exercise that is due next week. You must finish that before assignment 2 is open. It is designed that way. So you can't see assignment 2 until you finish the IBM, the next assignment, which is what I call IBM exercise. Unfortunately, if you wait until next week, that only leaves you with a week to do a big assignment with a report. So I urge you, I know we're running very fast, I know it is, it's fast paced, but get the exercise assignment done so you can have, a little bit more time than just a week to do a full assignment 2 with a report. Over. Thank you.
Yeah. And this is like, it's very sad when people leave things to the end. And you know how we are still in the winter time, right? There could be snowstorm. You don't want to be impacted by the power outage too, those things happen. So, and myself personally, I try to live by 24-hour rule. So if something is due today, I would have it ready by yesterday the latest, So that way it gives me a little bit of time, because sometimes maybe I remember, oh, wait a minute, I forgot to add this, I forgot to do this, those things. Yeah, you still have time to review your stuff and etc. So, but for the small exercise, do it quickly. Or you may want to, after this session, just check out, make sure you have access. Because if not, I'm still here. I could just go, if you submit the case, I'm still online. I can go in and fix it quickly. It just, like things like this team content, this is a no-brainer. I know what I need to do, and that's it. And she will see the content. And you will need to log out and log back in, and you will see it once I take care of the ticket. Okay? Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, let me see in the chat. Oh, okay, most welcome. So everybody, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna end this session, and then I will wait for the system to generate the recording, and well, there is a process, okay? You're most welcome. And thank you guys for attending. We're gonna have another session in 4 weeks. Please, mark your calendar, okay? So set aside the time, plan accordingly. I'm gonna stop the recording. Stop.